A heartfelt farewell, Chattanooga's beloved violinist takes his final bow. After an incredible journey that has spanned decades, the talented violinist Mark Reneau is preparing to say goodbye to Chattanooga. This Saturday, he will grace the stage one last time, performing Beethoven's magnificent Missa Solemnis with the Chattanooga Bach Choir, a fitting tribute to a life dedicated to music. Mark's story begins in a home filled with melodies. Growing up, his mother played the piano for their local church, and the very piano from his childhood now occupies a special place in his living room, surrounded by a treasure trove of CDs. It was in third grade that Mark first encountered the violin, thanks to a passionate teacher who brought her instrument to class. When she invited students to try it out, young Mark eagerly raised his hand, and despite producing what he describes as awful racket, he instantly fell in love with the instrument. "I made some awful racket and just fell in love with it," he recalls with a chuckle. Convincing his parents to let him switch from piano to violin was no easy feat, especially since he had just quit his piano lessons. But Mark was persistent, and on February 1, 1964, a date he remembers vividly, he had his first violin lesson. By the time he turned 13, his dream of becoming a professional musician was firmly set in stone. "I've never really thought seriously about doing anything else," he shares, reflecting on a life devoted to music, despite his father's suggestions for more conventional careers. Mark's musical journey has been nothing short of remarkable. He has played with the Chattanooga Symphony and Opera and the Nashville Symphony since the 1970s, and he spent nearly 2 decades as concertmaster for the Huntsville Symphony. His talent has also led him to share the stage with iconic artists like Roberta Flack, Natalie Cole, and Tony Bennett, among many others. His career has taken him across the United States, performing in festivals from Washington to New York and even as far as Sofia, Bulgaria. Mark vividly recalls his time in Bulgaria, describing it as the poorest of the Soviet bloc countries, where he witnessed the stark realities of life. He also had the unique opportunity to see firewalkers on a mountain outside the city, a sight he humorously notes is not something you typically see on Lookout Mountain, unless it's a really good party. As he prepares for his final performance, Mark reflects on the emotional highs of his career. "There are shows that are more fun than others, some that are more earth-shaking emotionally, and some that just leave you floating," he explains. Playing alongside renowned cellist Yo-Yo Ma, he likens the experience to performing with the Dalai Lama, a moment he will never forget. So, what keeps a musician like Mark inspired after so many years? "There's always a possibility that you'll get better," he says. "You don't play the same way you did 40 years ago. Some things are better, and some things are not as easy as they were. But what doesn't change is the desire to do it. That remains constant." Beyond performing, Mark has also dedicated himself to teaching. He took on his first student while still in high school and has since taught countless students, joking that he's not sure he wants to know the exact number. Some of his former students have even returned to him with their own children, whom he affectionately calls his grand students. One of those students, Josh Hallritz, now serves as the associate concertmaster of the Chattanooga Symphony. After moving away, Josh returned to Chattanooga and reconnected with Mark, who insisted on calling him a colleague rather than a former student. He really wanted to make that distinction of, "You're not my student anymore. You're my colleague," Josh recalls, cherishing the special bond they share. As Mark prepares to leave Chattanooga, Josh expresses mixed emotions. "On one hand, I'm excited for him, but on the other, I'll miss him like crazy. There's going to be a huge hole, not just musically but personally as well. He's meant so much to me and the community." Before he takes his final bow, Mark will perform Beethoven's Missa Solemnis with the Bach Choir, an ensemble known for its dedication to early music. Under the direction of artistic director David Long, the concert promises to be a spectacular event, featuring a large orchestra and choir. Long describes the piece as one of the most glorious in Western music, noting that it's rarely performed due to its complexity. Mark, who has long served as concertmaster for the Bach Choir, will perform the beautiful Benedictus solo, a fitting farewell to his illustrious career. Long, who had heard of Mark's reputation before meeting him, confirms that Mark is indeed one of the best violinists in town. He looks forward to the unique nuances Mark will bring to the performance, which will leave a lasting impression. As the concert approaches, Mark anticipates a flood of memories as he walks out to tune the orchestra. It's going to be quite loaded, he admits, knowing that this performance will be a poignant moment in his life. And then, with a deep breath, he will pick up his violin one last time, ready to share his passion with the audience that has supported him throughout his journey.